What's up guys, it's Punchy. It's that time of the year again, spooky season in Deepwoken, which means Hallowtide 2025 is on the way. Today, I'll break down what to expect from this year's event and share some speculation on possible surprises. Let's dive into the history of Hallowtide, when it might drop, and what we can expect this time around. Hallowtide has become some sort of a legacy event in Deepwoken, and yeah, it's older than most people think. This year, it's a major highlight right in the middle of the Verse 3 roadmap, which kinda tells me it's gonna be big. So before diving into that, let's look back. In Hallowtide 2022 and 2023, the entire map got a full reskin from houses to evil-looking trees. Seeing the world transform for those events was exciting, and honestly, I think this year will be even more visually festive. Usually, many features from past Hallowtide maps return, so it's safe to assume they'll expand on those for this year's update. With Fort Merritt recently being reworked, we might even see something new, maybe a ghostly prison or a similar twist added to the world. Anyway, besides the visual changes, a lot of new loot was introduced into the game alongside game modes themselves. Players could obtain entirely original weapons that always looked special and sometimes became the top of the meta for a very long time. The Drake Maul gauntlets have a slumping crit unlike anything else, the Skull Piercer used to be the best rapier available, the Spectral Grasp was straight up unreadable, and the Death's Reverie was considered the strongest twin blade in the entire game. Despite their combat viability, these exclusive weapons were always fun to see, and I'd honestly be surprised if we didn't see any new options pop up. On top of that, my friend Natoons, the developer behind many of these weapons, mentioned that he might revisit the old Hallowtide arsenal for a critical rework. So far, only the Skyreap blade has received a new crit, but it might be great to see updates for classics like the Skull Piercer and the Pumpkin Hollowscleave 2. Beyond weapons, some of the community's favorite additions were the visual callbacks to the Deep Dev's earlier games, being Rogue Lineage. Many of the Rogue Lineage content made a return with several 2D outfits and even 3D gear that players could equip from classes like the Sigil Knight, Dark Sigil Knight, Church Knight, and the Scroom Race. These nostalgic cosmetics, including original designs with the pumpkin head, could easily make another appearance this year. Outside of the equipment and weapons, players can invest their time into earning special enchants like the Obscuring Harrowing Enchant, the Range Pumpkin Pitch Mantra, special instruments to play songs on, and even the Hallowtide race variants available when creating a character. Each of these items could be earned by crafting a mask to scare NPCs or by entering a gauntlet game mode that tested how long you could survive against waves of enemies. That mode, by the way, was one of the best relic farming spots in the entire game, so don't miss that. After building up joy from both events, players could visit a special pumpkin NPC to teleport to the Floating Keep, home to new NPCs and vendors selling Hallowtide gear. You could even earn medallions to buy event items from any blacksmith across the map, and it was very valuable. Each of these characters had tons of personality you wouldn't find anywhere else, and it's safe to assume the joy system and familiar faces will return in 2025. Everything mentioned from before, the game modes, scare mechanics, joy collection, weapons and gear, forms the baseline of what to expect this year, though it could be even bigger based on what the devs have hinted. Last year's Hallowtide in 2024 introduced Bloodrand, one of the first original attunements, and it completely shook up the game. So new weapons, mantras, and talents dropped all at once around Halloween, changing everything. While Lifeweave, the other known element that's in the works, isn't arriving anytime soon, the devs have hinted at some entirely different plans for this year. Taking a look at the Verse 3 roadmap, right in the middle is Hallowtide 2025 with a massive spot that's comparable to the Authority Origin and even Layer 3. So in my opinion, I don't think this is just a random placement, it's totally intentional. I think that this event is going to be pretty large based on the bonus content they drop alongside it. In the recent Deepwoken Direct Q&A session, Raguzer, one of the game's main owners and developers, said that they wanted to have the Vow of Iron and Aspect Divergences released before or released with Hallowtide. Now, what exactly do both of these new game mechanics mean, and how does that tie into Halloween? Let's break it down. With the easier to understand idea, let's start with divergences or simplified race variants. This concept was compared directly to Rogue Lineage and its sub-races, basically the original race with some sort of modifier or change that alters how they act in the world with definite differences. In Deepwoken, these races might have visual changes like a broken mask, horns, or even jaws like this image that's in the works, but they're supposed to be shaped or even shape the environment around them with special new areas. It wouldn't be out of the question to see special race variants affected by the world like my Rotweave inflected or geologically different race concept that I've made in the past. I think zombie races or even like, I don't know, virus type races could be super cool for Halloween, like mud skipper sort of zombies, but I'm not too sure. Of course, these are my ideas, which probably won't make it into the game, but divergences are different aspect variants that are supposed to come out soon, and that's pretty exciting. I could definitely see these be obtainable in the Halloween sort of theme, and this could work exactly the same as the Hallowtide race variants. Now, with the Vow of Iron, this is a little bit different. Described by Raguzer, the Vow of Iron is a hardcore experience for players kinda similar to Rogue Lineage, where lives are in place, and the game itself is probably going to be more difficult. So the interesting part about the Iron Vow is how Raguzer wants builds to work, since he doesn't really like how they are, in the current game. He stated in the direct that builds in the Iron Vow servers will have definite upsides and downsides, where they might specialize in a certain field of gameplay and lack a lot in another. Essentially, these are almost gimmick-based builds where they have a specific engine they respect and play off, like a slowdown build or a pen build. They're very specific. The fun part about the Vow of Iron is that there might be new enemies or harder enemies based on what we've already seen, and there could be exclusive bosses specifically for this Iron gameplay. Based on all of this information about the Vow of Iron, I don't really see any relation to a Halloween sort of theme, but it might just be a large piece of content that's coming alongside this update. Anyway, for both Divergences and Iron Vow, these are supposed to be coming out sometime soon, at least near Hallowtide 2025. Finalizing everything, as far as scheduling goes for this event, it's always been a little later than other games. The first week of Hallowtide usually isn't anything too crazy, happening on Halloween itself with just the basic content, but usually the following week steps it up a notch. I wouldn't be too surprised with a normal Halloween update on the 31st of October, and then the massive game-changing update happening on the first week of November, but that's based on the past years. That's basically all I gotta say, and tell me what you think about any of these concepts and share what you want to pick up for this year's Hallowtide in the comments down below. And with that being said, that's all for right now. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out this channel. If you want to join as a member, go down below, but besides that, my personal Discord, Guild Discord, and my UGC group are all linked, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punchin' time.